Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela.
And this is our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local members of the community to come in and talk about their businesses. We are powered by the Putkela Group, real estate professionals. And we are so happy to welcome today Kirsten Pagacz with Retro Go-Go in downtown Howell.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Fun store. It's really neat. We're excited to sit down with you and learn more about your offerings. And downtown Howell really has had a lot of shopping. And the episode just before this, we did have Tony from the general store as well. And I just feel like Howell's turned into this shopping destination.
Absolutely. And I think the shops are each individually a destination. So
This
there's a
is
lot
fair.
to do when you get in that community.
No, there's just a lot of uniqueness. And, we were just so excited about you coming in. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your shop?
All right. The website is retrogogo.com, and that shop is available 24/7. However, we did, before COVID, actually run a store. So a lot of people want to come and see that store. And during COVID, we had to rethink things and reorganize our space. So we no longer actually have a store up front. However, we have curbside pickup. So there's people that come from all over to pick up their products, and they'll be all packaged and ready to go, and then we refund shipping. So we still make our store available. It's for pickup at this time.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense because it is a physical location, but very convenient for pickup, especially as you're out and about in downtown Howell.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have people that come still to pick up products from all over the place. So it's amazing that even though the store isn't open, we're still open, promoting and getting our products out there.
Right.
That is amazing. The name Retro Go-Go says a lot about kind of what it is you carry. But for someone that hasn't been to the website yet, what is it that you carry there then?
What we carry is an assortment of our love of vintage. And so the whole idea started in 2004. I was looking through my husband, Doug, who's an artist. He has flat files, these beautiful vintage magazines from the 1930s. And I said, Doug, these are so great, but no one's seeing these. These are such a shame. These are wonderful. Wouldn't it be neat if we could repurpose these and kind of bring them back to the world? So we started in the 1930s, and now we've gone all the way through General Mills, the cereal monsters from the 1970s, and anything that was retro pop culture that we love ends up somehow getting represented in a product.
Nice. How exciting. That's very unique. And what types of products that display the vintage? I've been on the website, so I've seen some of the blankets and shirts and whatnot, but
Absolutely. Well, it starts with the love of the image or the brand, and then we think, what is the best way to represent this in a product? So Betty Page, who is a famous pinup, she has extraordinary photographs. And so we said, hey, wouldn't it be great to speak to the Betty Page estate, be able to access those photos, but then transition them and repurpose them into a new kind of offering. So my husband, Doug, has taken a lot of the images and created vintage magazine-looking covers for blankets, for wallet cases, pill boxes. So anything that we're able to put an image on sometimes becomes the format for this.
wow. How exciting.
I love the metal signs, by the way. I saw those on the website. Just that idea of some of the old monster comic book covers and some of the other things. It's very unique, but it's so nice to see those images again in a way that you can purchase.
Absolutely. And one of the licenses that we're working with now is the official EC Comics. And so we're utilizing a lot of the images from their comic books of yesteryear onto blankets, signs, and so forth. So it's a new way to love vintage, or for the people that don't know EC Comics, they see it for the first time and fall in love because it's really cool, interesting, unique things that people are seeing, whether it's for the first time or something that they remember from their own childhood.
Right. And then like you mentioned the Betty Page, when I was on the website and saw the pinup section and such, I didn't know the name of who that was, but I immediately recognized the image.
Sure. And there's a lot of people who love Betty Page and actually emulate her look and her style. She has real straight chopped bangs and dark hair. And when we used to do the show Viva Las Vegas, there was a lot of pinups that really resembled the whole Betty Page look. She's kind of like the dark angel compared to like Marilyn Monroe. So you have, Marilyn Monroe, and then you have Betty, who's a little bit more risque, a little bit more, sexy, if you will, in a different way than other pinups. So she really
seems
captured,
a little edgy.
Yeah, real edgy, and it just looks fantastic on film.
In terms of the products that you sell, what happens to be the most popular?
Well, that transitions. There's things that we've carried that have been huge sellers, and the sales dwindle off and we might bring something back. What really put us on the map is our wall decor. So the idea with the wall decor is that when we were growing up, we loved the Halloween masks that were in the little boxes that came with a matching outfit and so forth. And we said, this mask is so cool. What if we resurrected it and created wall decor? And so now we've successfully done your classic Santa, and we put the object in a retro box, so it really gives you the whole nostalgic feel. The gentleman who does all the makeup for The Walking Dead, he's bought one of all of our wall decor in his living room. So his whole living room is filled with all these beautiful faces that represent pop culture from that era.
Wow.
How neat.
That is really cool. And, when you talked about the wall decor, the one I really wanted to ask you about is, and I hope I get this right, the scratch and stuff, is it? Or
Scratch and scuff.
Scuff, okay.
Yes. So basically at Retro Go-Go, now we've been doing this for 20 years, so we've dialed some things in, and quality is really our edge. When someone gets their package, it comes with beautiful tissue and it's nicely, thoughtfully wrapped and so forth. And so scratch and scuff, I was talking about the quality of the product. So we want to be kind of the center of the bullseye in quality, look, feel, and so forth. And there's some things that don't make the bar. So we have scratch and scuff. So the person that's looking for 100% perfection, buy it at full retail, use coupons, get it at a discount. For someone who says, I don't mind a little ding or a scratch or whatever, I'll pay a little discounted price to get scratch and scuff. So it's our way to say, hey, this product is still good. It's not 100%. It's, say, 99%. And people say, hey, I don't even see where these flaws are. This is crazy. So some people really pick up on the scratch and scuff sale because they know they're going to get great product with great packaging.
That is amazing because that speaks to the quality, because when I was looking at that section on the website, I didn't even notice that. What I noticed is amazing different products, and that just really drew you in. What draws me in the most about your site is just the variety of product, and I guess it's just in the retro of that time period, the colors.
Absolutely. And one of the things is that we like to represent either what was happening during that era or put our own spin on it. So maybe something that you would be used to seeing in one colorway, we'll try another colorway. We've done vinyl figures, and we've done well with those. We did a cute little devil guy. We did him in black and white to represent kind of the black and white movies. We did them in full color. And then we also did them in what we call totally gnarly. So for instance, we have the Bela Lugosi Tiny Terror, but we did him like he's, walking out of a rock club with purple and pink and all the ways that you've never seen Bela Lugosi. But when you see him like this, it sure is interesting.
Very cool.
How unique. And definitely very unusual gifts. Certainly the holidays are coming up, and as people are looking for something that's unusual for their loved ones, that, rather than just a gift card or something with not a lot of thought put into it, it's neat to give something to someone that, most certainly they probably don't have anything like that.
Absolutely. And we find that people really do feel joyous about the products. For instance, one of the shows that we do is San Diego Comic-Con, which is a big pop culture art scene. And, people are just loving to come in and see the assortment and just be, blown away by the offering.
Great.
And I know you mentioned Bela Lugosi a little bit ago. For those people out there that aren't into horror or horror movies or the time period, who is Bela Lugosi? I mean, I know, but some other people might not know. And then talk a little bit about, you said you kind of have a line of Bela Lugosi, right?
So the neat thing is that Bela Lugosi is someone that comes from the movie industry and was one of the groundbreakers, kind of like Betty Page is a groundbreaker in pinup. Bela Lugosi is a groundbreaker in terms of representing himself as a monster and being believable. So he would do his own makeup and just brought a lot to the acting and so on and so forth. So when people think of the original Dracula, even though he's been represented by different people, Bela is kind of the OG, that he came first, and he's the one that is so nicely, so good to represent because of all the movies that he was in. And so we have so much great artwork and movie titles that people love. And he is just a great representation of retro go-go because he's different, he's retro, and kind of the original groundbreaking character.
But with products in new ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Fresh and interesting and modern.
Yes. Well, we do what we can, and we do listen to our customers. A lot of what we do is they might say, hey, I'd love to see Bela Lugosi as a tin sign, or I'd love to see another blanket. So people kind of share with us what they would like to see, and then we have the creative mats to be able to create these different things.
If someone calls up, can you customize things to people as well then, or?
We used to do a lot of customization because the idea of the business was I was an artist, and it was very hard for me to do a print run or make product because you have to make huge quantities. And so we were making these products, but I wanted to be available to artists to kind of use, what we had in manufacturing to be able to do their own work. So early on, we did a lot of custom work for artists, putting their artwork on items and then selling them the product. And actually, that is when retro started. One of my first licenses was Ford Motor Company because I worked on their centennial campaign when they were celebrating their 100th anniversary. And I worked with the VP of merchandising. So when I started retro, I went back to him and said, I'm just starting out, but I know I can make some really cool stuff with vintage Ford cars, but I can't afford the license. So if I created cool business card cases with the old Pinto, Mustang, and so forth, and I sold them to you, you could then sell them, correct? And he said, correct. And I said, well, let me show you what we can do. So that was the first assortment of these vintage cars on business card cases that he then could take forward. And the other kind of the feather in our cap is that because we were doing well with Ford, we got recognition from GM. So GM called and said, hey, we see what you're doing for Ford. Would you consider us? And it's always better when they call you, right?
Right.
Wow, how neat.
And that was the car industry. Part of it is that I had a foot in the door, but then, I also love vintage, all different things. And that was one way to kind of get some publicity, was to have Ford. And Ford really opened some doors for us. People took us more seriously that we were working with, some of the big guys out of Detroit.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what a great resource you are here in Livingston County, and you're kind of renowned through all these, in terms of different places and companies and people from all over.
The path that we've taken, sure, it's interesting, but the idea is that we continue to bring joy to people.
One of the things I think is really interesting is right now, culturally, vintage things and retro things have become really hot. that people just like. I don't know if it's that it's so long ago they haven't seen it in a while or such, but you hit a niche there of that vintage that people just want to have.
Good segue. So I was at the Lansing show yesterday, and I overheard a customer say, hey, when I look at that Santa wall decor, it really brings me back to my childhood. I remember going to stores and seeing things like this hung on the wall, the vac form Santa. So when we know we're touching people in a way that really makes them excited. So if they come to San Diego Comic-Con, they might run in the booth and say, oh my God, you did this, and I had this as a kid, and this made me so happy, and now I'm sharing it with my kids. And it's really that excitement that people get. And there's a lot of things that people can do with their money, but not everything is inspiring. But with Retro A Go-Go, even $20 can be turned into something interesting and wonderful as a gift that you feel good about. And I think that's why we have so many return customers, because the first experience is so good, they keep coming back. And I think that's allowed us to grow and evolve, because we really do love to make our customers happy, and we are fully fighting against becoming an adult. So
there you go.
I will do anything to remain childlike in my own life, and this has helped me greatly.
And what a way to make that personal connection and, tap into those memories of those that have them, but then even those that don't, to create new memories.
Absolutely. And I know with, we did the Munsters wall decor. So we did the official license with Universal. And people said, oh, why don't you do Addams Family? Do Addams Family. And part of it is that we need to stay motivated with what we're doing. And I was a Munsters fan. I wasn't an Addams Family. Nothing against Addams Family, but if I'm going to put my money on the line and design something, I want to see Munsters come to life. Yeah. I also love the cereal monsters, General Mills, Count Chocula and Frankenberry and Boo Berry. I remember them when I was a kid, so being able to make huge wall decor with them was like, this is amazing. And then we packaged them in a giant cereal box. So always trying to kind of reinvent things, so when people see our products or share our products, there's levels of discovery. There's always going to be cool little things about them. And that's where we can really make our visions come to reality. And the base of Retro is really two artists. And so for us to have our visions be able to come to reality and make other people happy with that artistic expression, that's what it's all about.
Right.
And that's what keeps us passionate.
Right. Well, those Comic-Cons and such must be just so amazing, because you have those, you have these groups of people where some of them are coming in and they're seeing your stuff because they remember seeing those as a kid, right? And then you have that other group that just discovered it, and they're jumping down the rabbit hole kind of like, wow, what is this? And
right. That is very true. So it's people that love retro from their own experiences of what they remember. Or you go, oh my gosh, a 1950s Santa, that's amazing,
really special.
And people can get excited all over again. We did the Weirdos wearable masks, and they're just really cool monster heads with lurid colors. And so whether you knew the Weirdos from the 1970s or not, it's still a really fun, cool end product that gets people excited.
Very great. Now, in terms of as you're coming up with ideas, it's been 20 years for you now. Is it hard to continue to keep coming up with unusual things, or?
It's one of those things like a gardener. You'd say, is it really hard to plant flowers and find seeds? And when it's what you do and it's what you love and what you'd be doing anyway, it's really a vocation. So it's a creative outlet for myself and for my husband to make and design the things that we want to. And because it is an inspiring company, we attract some of the world's best artists. So we work with a 3D sculptor out of Italy that's hands down, the best. Our staff is small, but everyone is very competent and excellent at what they do. And I really try to capitalize on what people's strengths are And right now, the strength of retro is that we have manufacturing dialed in, we have our creative dialed in, and we have been flying, but we're really taking off and bringing it to the next level.
How exciting. What an accomplishment. When you first set out to do this, did you ever believe that it would grow into all of this?
You know, I believed in myself. I believed in my ability. And my mother, who has since passed, kind of gave me something in my DNA, which is perseverance and grit. And so when times were tough, you just have to weather the storm. So none of it's been easy. It's been up and down and around and over and under. But it brings us a lot of joy to be able to be working in our vocation and not having to change who we are to fit into the corporate world. We have been able to build it so the culture matches what I want it to be. So when I came from corporate, it wasn't a situation where everybody had a voice. It was, what's your status? How high are you on the
Totem pole.
on the totem pole, and then we'll give you credit or whatever. I say to everybody, everybody's voice matters. Everybody's ideas matter. I want to communicate and really work all avenues of the business and keep it open. Even our floor plan is a big open loft space because I believe in that open space. People can do their best and be creative.
There you go. So one question I always like to ask is, what's some of the most unique things you've had in your store or such? And your shop is 100% unique, above unique because of, the Retro Go-Go. But what are some of the unique projects or things that you've had that you've been like, wow, that was different?
There's been so many different things that we've created, but what's memorable is the first time that the vision comes into reality. And when everyone does their part and it's a real winner, you go, wow, this came out incredible. Like we did EC Comics ornaments, and the sculpting work is amazing. The detailed work is amazing. One of the witches is reading a comic book, and from all angles of this ornament, you can see into the pages that she's reading, and all the print quality is beautiful. So you go, wow, this really turned into something special. And to have the grandson of that estate be pleased that we're living up to his grandfather's legacy, or Bela Lugosi, we're working with his granddaughter. When they say, hey, boy, this would have made my grandpa really proud, then we go, all right, great, we're doing something good.
I could see right there.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's what, dreams are about, and to accomplish so much. I mean, that's a legacy. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I'm learning so much about this shop, and I find that the online, our son is really into comics, and our oldest son is into comics and is into this vintage idea and such. And, I know I'm going to be texting him later and saying, hey, you got to check out this website.
Well, I don't know. I think we might need to do some Christmas shopping on it first.
That's true.
We'll show it to him when he's home at Christmas, hopefully. But, such great things. And I do want to make sure to ask if there's one thing that you want our listeners to take away from this interview today, what would that be?
That would be that you are bigger than what the issue in front of you might be. So, for instance, I suffered from severe OCD for decades, going undiagnosed. And if I would have said, I'm a person, I have this illness, and therefore, I'm defective and I'm not going to be able to move beyond this. I said, okay, I have this, and how do I also function with it in my repertoire and just keep going rather than being defined by an illness or held up? I pushed through and was able to have a successful business with what could be diagnosed as a mental disorder. And so if someone's out there feeling less than, remember that it is just the narrative that you're telling yourself, that if you want to see beyond that and build beyond it, it is a possibility. And I think hope is having that possibility and being able to move forward with that.
That's remarkable. Congratulations. That's when you put it in that context, it really hits home. And I think that's something that people can relate out there.
100%.
There's so many people that are grappling with things today.
Yeah, and they don't need to define you. We all have our past. We all have our experiences. We all have areas that we want to make better. But that doesn't define who you are, because we're ever evolving and moving forward, and that force is with you. And if you have the creative energy or you have the thoughts that you want to, possibly write a book or something, the main thing is just start. And so move one step in the direction of your dream, and you're that much closer to your dream.
One step at a time, right?
Exactly.
That's really all that it is. Yeah. I mean, it's attainable, really anything.
Yes. Yep.
We certainly, have had our own path as well.
Yep.
It gets
Yeah,
really
and we can see how much you've built this business into. Just, all the joy you've brought to other people and all the different products. And like I said, going on the website and seeing all the different lines and all the variety of things, you can 100% tell that it's a passion.
Absolutely. And even hearing you today, I mean, just how exciting just to take us along on this journey of, the different shows you do, the different things you do. I mean, this is the ultimate dream of so many people.
Well, the one thing I wanted to share too, if I may, is two different directions of retro. One is called Ghoulsville, and so that's all monsters all the time, and Ghoulsville is almost like a land in your imagination where these characters would come from. And then I also have Sugarland, and I work with a UK artist, and she makes very beautiful designs with super cutesy, over-the-top, sweet little animals, which is very different than Ghoulsville. But Sugarland is also a place in your imagination. So we create things that come from Sugarland that get delivered to you. Or we create something that comes from Ghoulsville, and now you get a piece of it. So it's these lands that we bring forward in product that we're able to share these visions with people. And they seem to like it. So keep on coming.
There you go.
Ah, that's fantastic. One of the things I want to mention, since you've been in the community for so long, what do you like best about Livingston?
So many people have asked, why Howell? Why Howell? And my answer is, why not? I mean, my gosh, it's a great family community. I've known the different people that have worked at the chamber and how dedicated people are to rolling up their shirt sleeves. I remember when I cut the ribbon, and the town got behind me on that with the vision. And just the celebration of lights. It's a family place. You see people out on their bikes. You see people eating ice cream on the street. I mean, it really is an area that people love to come to. So that we're a part of that energy and a part of that vision, and that we're bringing something to the community is exciting. We appreciate that they make a home for us and vice versa.
Great.
Wonderful. How do people find your business?
The best way to find it is to go to retroagogo.com. So that's retroagogo.com. You can find us there. We're also located in Howell. We have curbside pickup, so we're happy to wrap stuff up, and you can drop on by and pick your things up there. And I think that those are going to be the best way. I also want to, if I could, give my phone number so you can call our office at 734-476-0300. We actually do pick up the phone.
Real life human.
Yeah, we're a real life human people. But anyway, those are the best ways in which to reach out.
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
Do you have a Facebook page too? Is that?
We do. It's Retro Agogo. On Instagram, we're oddly enough Retro Agogo Gear, but we keep it interesting, and we're always promoting new products or artists or whatever. So it's a good thing to join our social media so you can just stay up to date with all the different things that we're doing.
Right, and then they can find you usually at the major Comic-Cons, having a booth at quite a few of them then?
Well, we used to do at least 12 shows a year. And we have really dialed that back. The big show right now is San Diego Comic-Con, and then there's also one in LA called Monster Palooza. And so we're big fans of that. So it's very expensive to get on the road and ship pallets of products, so we have to make sure that the return on investment is there. Those two shows really seem to be where it's at the moment.
Wonderful.
Great. That's fantastic. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today and to go over all of your stuff with the holidays coming up, everybody. That's something to check out, and you don't have to worry about waiting for it to be shipped because you can just drive on by and
it's a gift you can be proud of. It is something different and unusual. So instead of going to a big box store and blowing $40 to $60 on a product, but it's really not exciting. When you come to our lands, we will have things that are exciting and expose you to what made pop culture so wonderful at the time and wonderful now.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this after the holidays, know that, hey, people have birthdays and there's always other holidays.
100%.
Memorable, beautiful gifts.
They're really gifts to go. And they speak volumes when you see the item and go, oh, and you're excited. And when you give a gift, that's really what you want to do.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you here, learning all about your business. Everyone out there listening, please check out her website, retroagogo.com. Find her on Instagram and on Facebook. And check out our other podcasts. You can find our podcasts anywhere that you listen to podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and such. So
even YouTube.
Yes. So you can watch us if you want. So thank you so much for listening today. And welcome to Livingston.